All right, welcome to With All Due Respect, your recap show for Chaos here in the Grown Folks Wrestling eFed. Thank you for tuning into the show right now. I haven't had a chance to go back and recap our second show. The third show is already starting to build up to be much, much better. Probably the best work that we've ever had, but I really do like what our second show was all about. And I know that I'm still carrying a lot of this, but a lot of guys are starting to catch on, starting to get excited, and I think that there's some momentum starting to build up. Plus, we got some screenshots from the new game today. So Madden, listen to me, I'm in Madden mode right now, but WWE 2K18 looks spectacular. And so if you haven't seen them, you need to go check out our Twitter, GrownFolks OC. You can see we've retweeted some images there. But the new game is still 2.5 months away, and so until then, we got a lot of other gaming that we can do. And made a little Grown Folks Wrestling Chaos intro here. Something different. We don't have a lot of screenshots to pull from right now, so I was grasping at straws just a little bit. But I hope you like it. Just something to open up the show and get us going. And then the show opens up with a previously recorded segment. And it looks like Captain Alex is trying to find him a place to work out. And so this was just a fun little segment to introduce the Grown Folks Arena to the EFED of where Cactus works out, his little hideaway club that he has. And so Captain has a little interaction with somebody that's there. They say, you got to go find Cactus. Well, you don't have to look too far because as the show opens up, Mr. Cactus Gage shows up in his stretch limo yellow Trans Am with the Lambo doors, and he gets out and he is ready for the show. Casey and Mersloff, Satan open us up and have a little back and forth. This was just a fun show to write. We did lose a couple of guys who I've seen this too often. Of course, I was in the OCW, which is probably the best EFED in the whole world. Go check them out, ocwefed.com. But I learned that a lot of guys jump in this and think they know what they're doing, and within like a couple days, they just kind of disappear. And that's what we had here. And I wanted to write them off. Like, I want to really play this up. And so we did. Luna wrote them off, threw away their stuff. But Casey's talking about a surprise. And the show actually opens up with the watering hole. The watering hole is hopefully a weekly segment as long as we have something to actually do on the show. But a weekly interview, think Miz TV, think that type of segment that happens in the actual ring. And Cactus offers his old buddy, Mr. Steele, to come meet him down and have a little interview session. So these two do some catching up about where Aiden has been since we've last seen him, which has been many years now. And then we get a surprise. Maybe this is the surprise that Luna was talking about, but Mr. Dustin White steps onto the scene. He is here, walks into the ring, and now these three guys who kind of know each other. Of course, Dustin and Cactus were in the club back in the OCW days. Aiden and Cactus have some history in the original EFED that was there 2 years ago, Worldwide Gamers EFED. And so there's a lot of history right here. And then here comes Luna. You know, she is known for breaking up a good time, and so she does. She steps out and she interrupts the show, and she makes a couple of matches here. A mystery opponent for Cactus. But next week's show, this current card that we're on that we'll talk about at the end of the show, it's Cactus Gage versus Dustin White. She's going to pair the two old buddies against each other. And she's going to make sure that Mr. Steele has a hardcore match again. So he's got to go against Jack Thunder again tonight. These two have been going at it back and forth. Jack has fallen on the sharp end of the stick there. But with all due respect, Aiden, Jack is getting better. Jack is starting to learn how to play this game. And Aiden has been walking around like he's the champion already. Doesn't even have a belt, doesn't even have a championship match yet. But Aiden is already walking around with this cockiness. And with all due respect, I think Luna is looking to put him in his place. And so we move then over to Creedence Clearwater, who has a little interview session with Jack. He's getting ready for his match, right? He's got this really big opportunity in front of him to finally overtake Aiden Steele. But our first one's going to be Ezreal versus the Headshrinker. This was a fun match. I had to help a little bit. We're going to kill the music here just so it doesn't over-blare me. But this was a fun match to kind of help these guys with, to do their entrances. One of my favorite entrances has to be this Headshrinker image. The music fits perfectly. The entrance is spectacular. Now, we find out later that Mr. Headshrinker himself didn't have a visa, and when he came out in the show, he was overtaken and shipped back where he came from. I hope that we get to see him again, though. I hope that some way, somehow, he finds his way back to the GFW, because his entrance was really spectacular. But it's going to be Ezreal, the robot, the guy who is being fixed up. He's being brought back to the GFW, and he's going to fight the Headshrinker. And these two kind of go at it back and forth. This was a fun match to watch. And then finally at the very end, let's see if I can find it and show you the very end. There we go. With all due respect, you'll see Ezreal hit it right here. And I'm not professional for doing these shows live, just having some fun. But you'll see Ezreal hit his finishing move. You need to go back and watch this match. It was a whole lot of fun. But a good win for Ezreal. But we'll find out some more information about him on this next card, as Luna has a different interaction with some people. Cactus and Nikki do a quick interview talking about that match next week for the old club member, him and Dustin, and they're going to have to go at it. But his mystery opponent is set. And we get introduced to another new character here, Mr. Freeze. You'll see Freeze's entrance right here. It's an interesting character. Oh no, this is Cactus. See if we can get to Mr. Freeze's entrance here. But Mr. Freeze is some enhancement talent that Luna has found, and here he comes, looking like Sub-Zero from the Goodwill, but he is ready to get in there with Cactus Gauge. What a look for Mr. Freeze. We got to find out more about this character. But him and Cactus really have a good match. They kind of go back and forth at it. Cactus pretty much has his way. Of course, it is enhancement talent, and Luna's just throwing this guy at him to see if he can throw Cactus off of his game. But it doesn't work, right? Cactus finds the upper hand here and ends up winning this match with a deep 6 to put Mr. Freeze out of his misery. But Mr. Freeze may still be around. We may continue to hear from Mr. Freeze as our E-Fed continues. It'll be interesting to see what he's all about. Creedence Clearwater catches Aiden Steele. He's preparing for a match, and those two kind of talk, and Aiden, again, is super confident. He's walking around boasting, even to a point where he tells Creedence, you stay right here. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to take care of what I need to take care of. You stay there. I'll be back. And that's exactly what he does. Jack Thunder versus Aiden Steele in the main event. You need to go watch it. It is a fun match to watch. The thing I like about our FPR, the way we've set it up, is that you can kick out of one finisher, but you can't kick out of the second. And that makes our matches just a whole lot shorter. And I think guys are still learning the game. But Aiden puts this one away at the very end. He has such a powerful move here. His finisher is devastating, to say the least. Most people don't get up for it, and you'll see it right here. We'll find out what he calls this. I probably should know what he calls this move right here. But he's going to drop Jack right on the top of his head, holding down 1, 2, 3, and that ends it right there. Aiden Steele wins that match. So Aiden's making a name for himself here. He's going to have to really get a shot at something here as we build up. We've got 2 more cards, the one we're currently in, then 1 more, and then we'll get into our first pay-per-view. And Aiden is really making a name for himself to do that. Then Luna comes out with this hardcore belt. That seems to be the one that she's mainly pushing. She did make a statement that she didn't want to just give the main heavyweight champion belt away for the GrownFolks Wrestling E-Fed. So she comes out with a pretty spectacular looking hardcore belt. I like it, at least. And she talks about what she plans to do with this. And she's looking for 2 people that she can set up against. And she ends up telling both Aiden and Jack, who, by the way, had a hardcore match, but just both decided they were going to prove they don't need weapons. So she warns them, you don't do it again, I'm going to fire you. So she puts them in another hardcore matchup next week against each other, their third match in a row. And the winner of that match will be one of the #1 contenders that will go into the pay-per-view. Jack Thunder and Nikki kind of talk back and forth. It looks like Nikki gets hit on a lot around here. Jack especially has his eye on her. And then the show ends with Satan being Satan and asking who the hell is Dustin White again. And then it actually ends with Captain finding Cactus, because of course Captain wants to talk to him about using the club's gym. And that brings us to our next card. Now this opens up with a neat little scene of a man who we don't really know and who's unidentified walking into Luna's office and saying that no longer would she have access to Ezreal. That Ezreal is going to be taken away for a little while, that he'd be brought back to the EFED. But for right now, Ezreal is going to be taken away, that there are some things that have to be done. And so she starts to think about how she's going to put the next card together, and she does. Aiden Steele versus Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze wants to continue to be on this card, so Aiden Steele versus Mr. Freeze. Jack Thunder is actually going to get a new opponent, right? He's going to face Jay Youngblood, another new character that's being introduced. And this is the hardcore match Luna ended up writing. Instead of doing Aiden Steele and Jack Thunder for a third time, let's give it a break. But let's put Jack Thunder with this new guy, Jay Youngblood. This winner will get a shot at the pay-per-view. There'll be one of the two that'll get a shot at the pay-per-view. I think Aiden is starting to prove himself around here. He's starting to make a name for himself, and Luna may have some other plans for him. And then, of course, our main event is going to be Cactus Gage versus Dustin White. The two former club members will face off against each other. And there are rumors floating around that at this watering hole segment, we may, somewhere in this show, maybe at the watering hole, maybe not, but we may get introduced to a brand new club member, which would make for an interesting show. Who's coming? Who's going? Who's this mystery phone call that Luna had a couple of weeks ago? I don't know, but look, check this out. If you're a wrestler here, I give you some little tips right here of how you can write your role plays, how you can find all of the tools that you need to put your videos together. I don't mind helping, but I can't do them all. You guys really got to start learning how to do this software yourself. The show is due on the 9th, so it's actually going to be due next week. You got a little extra time here to get this done. But I'm starting to hear about some of these matches, and it should make for one of our very best cards that we've ever produced. So, thank you again for tuning in. Man, I can't talk today. I don't know what the deal is, but tuning in to With All Due Respect. With all due respect, we need to get some more wrestlers. Find me some more people. We need some more guys that we can introduce into this EFED. I'm excited because I think that with this momentum, with the groundwork that we're laying as we all get our feet wet, when we get into WWE 2K18, I think that a lot of people will be buying the game and joining here what we do. So get those matches in. Tag me if you need some help. If not, we'll see you at the next card. Take it easy. God bless. Deuces.
Second.